Hi, everybody. It's Grace. Welcome to Eating Peace this week. You know, it's only 1 month's time until the Eating Peace retreat. And I had something coming up just the other day with a client who works on eating issues. And she said something very interesting that I found I could relate to so deeply. I remember vividly when I had the same experience. In fact, I still have the same remnants of the experience today. It's not as if it's completely vanished from my life, and that is a sense of rebellion. The reason this lovely inquirer was bringing it up is because she had listened or tried to listen to a recording that I offer for free, and it's actually in a link below this YouTube video today. That is a guided meditation you can listen to while you eat. It is not unlike a meditation that I use in the Eating Peace retreat. So people that come to attend and share that time together, it's a deepest immersion. I mean, we are literally together from 9 or 9:30 a.m. until 9 p.m. and we're together every meal. So when people come together to do this retreat, we get to see what it really feels like to be eating with other people, in the presence of other people, and what our urges are, or what we're objecting to, or if that rebellious feeling comes up. And I tell you, it often does. So I wanted to tell you a little story and share some about this experience of rebellion today and how to work with it, at least how I have, what I've noticed about it. So long ago, when I first had my initial binging or overeating or eating that intensified and became, known as what's called bulimia, where you just have wild, intense, freaked out experiences of compulsive eating, overeating, like grasping and grabbing, almost as if you're panicked out of your mind. That's how it used to feel. So when I had that kind of experience, and then the flip side of sort of purging, whether through intense extreme exercise or actually forcing myself to vomit, or starvation for, as long as I could stand it, or a day, whatever, kind of like the flip side opposite extreme. That also was occurring in my life when both sides were going. At that period of time, my experience of rebellion was deep and wild and intense and frustrated, and almost like a sense of, when I remember it, like I wanted to strangle something. It was like such an aggressive, violent feeling of being pinned down, and that I was a victim. Something was trying to override me, and I felt ruled and dictated and, just repressed, deeply suppressed by this, some other kind of energy. I often realized later that no one else was around. It was in my own mind, but it seemed so strong and powerful. It was as if it was a part of me. Like, a diet itself would feel like this, this kind of ruler, this monarchy, a dictatorship that was saying, here's the rules of doing it the right way, and if you go out of those rules or out of those boundaries or laws, then you've made a mistake and you're doing it the wrong way and you're a failure. What I began to find is that any kind of rules or legalities about it that were, forced or intense like that, like a law, I would feel rebellious about, because some part of me really wanted to find out what was true if there was no law, if there was no sort of outside enforced rule. How could I live and work with that, and find out what was truly right for me? There has to be a balance between the two sides. I do see, like, in most countries where we all live, there's quite a few people these days, and there's cars on the road, and over time there's been buildings and streets and traffic lights or stop signs. And the traffic lights are sort of part of a infrastructure or a creation that's built for everyone's safety. And there's just no way to be able to tell on these busy roads. I live only about a block from a major arterial. There's no way to tell who's coming unless traffic is thinned out and it's calmed down. Maybe at night you'd be able to tell. Many of us have had the experience because we've been in urban settings where you're at a street in the middle of the night and the traffic light's still going and it's a red light and no one is in sight for hours. You're the only person there. You're coming home late at night for something and you still wait at the red light because we just simply follow the simple directions and we don't run the red light. But there's not a sound, there's not a peep, there's nothing on the road, there's no lights, there's nothing. If you had run that red light or decided to go through the intersection, it probably would have been safe and absolutely fine if you're really looking at it closely and carefully. But during the daytime, when there's a lot of traffic, a lot of things going on, the red, green, and yellow lights are lifesavers. You just follow them. There they are. So there can be a sense of, safety and rest and relaxation and knowing where the green, red, and yellow lights are, places to slow down. This is okay to go, you're free to go. This is a place to stop, to breathe, to take into account what's happening, to feel the deepest commitment you have to your own food and eating. So I like thinking of it instead of, a diet plan or something that's ruling your life. It's just here we are working with what we've got. There's the food that's in front of us, and can I safely eat in a free manner? Sometimes people find that there's certain foods that if they eat them repeatedly over and over again, they always feel sick and they always feel terrible, and then somehow they don't choose to eliminate it from their lives, which is sort of the logical sequence of decision. Like let's just put up a traffic light there, maybe a red light and then a stop, and then it's time to go, just so that we can slow things down and have people take their turns. Maybe it's like having thoughts take their turns. There can be a place for that. That's really just a lovely way to structure and work with the movement of what is. So there we are in retreat, and we just decided to take it in a really, really slow way together, sharing the experience of feeling things in our bodies, feeling what it's like to be full, to get full as you take bites over a meal, to slow things down in a way that, yes, I myself do not eat that slowly for every meal every day. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't seem to be required. It also is completely comfortable and peaceful for me not to move in quite that same incredible slowness, but how rich and how amazing to have that experience and know that I can, and I can sit with it slowly, that I can. Sometimes it takes the experience of slowing it down. I can slow down so very, very slow that I see what's really right for me and take the time. If I'm really overwhelmed with a high volume of traffic in my feelings or my thinking, first thing to do is just to simply watch, like sort of stand back from the street. If there is no traffic light available, I might stand back from the street and look. I might even decide, maybe some of you have done this. I've done this before because I love walking, and I used to take many, many city walks. I still do quite a bit. So, I might come up against a place if I'm visiting someplace new or realizing there I am on this road and wow, this arterial is bigger than I ever imagined, and there is no crosswalk. I might stand for a while and observe and watch the traffic and watch what's happening, and I may make the decision the traffic cannot be crossed right here. Just the other day, I was on the road driving this very past week, and I suddenly put my brakes on pretty quickly. Not wild emergency. I didn't have adrenaline sharply running through my body, but I put my brakes on as people were stopped because a woman was just crossing the street, right in the middle of a 4-lane road, 2 lanes going one way, 2 lanes going the other, with no crosswalk in the middle of the street. And it's unexpected. It's not impossible for that to have happened, but it was dangerous, it seemed, for this woman. And she was trying to race across to a bus stop and catch a bus, and there was a lot of traffic. Maybe some of the people in front of me just a little ways were very alarmed and felt scared that they were going to hit her. So there's sort of a structural things set up for high volumes and speed and quickness. I mean, often, even if there isn't a crosswalk, going from a corner to corner is sort of got a natural place to it because cars stop on corners at intersections and everyone wants to slow down and take care and pay attention. That is what we're doing in the Eating Peace Retreat when we actually take food together. One thing that's really important about this particular retreat is everyone goes out into the community to acquire their own food. So you're going to go get the food so that it's more like how you would be in your daily life. You're not having something catered to you at an event. Everyone is not eating the same thing. You actually might find it sort of interesting and intriguing to look at other people's plates and what they've gotten and watch your own mind and the activity that happens in there. It's a very important part of the retreat. What's interesting is early on in this offering of a retreat where I knew I wanted to spend time in person connected to people in the Eating Peace process that I had found in my life, when I first was ready to offer it as a retreat and a place to hold peace and study that when it came to eating, food, and body image, I had people take the same types of breaks that you would take in any kind of training or workshop or retreat. Go off and see you in 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours. I'll just check in with you when you get back and we will continue where we left off with the learning, training, and teaching and experiential part of the program. I was missing a huge opportunity. That's something that people took with them, a lot of great learning, and then went out onto their break and reverted to some of the same ideas and behavior and options that they had been practicing for years and years and years. Not surprisingly, nobody was doing it wrong. And it just occurred to me after a little bit of time working with people in that particular way, I need to be right here connected with everybody as we all eat together. We all need to be connected together so that we do something different when it comes to this process. So people can actually feel it in their bones, feel the rebellion rising as they sit at a table with people mindfully eating, where that's the practice, and feel, I don't want to stay on this program. I can't stand it. When is this meal going to be over? I just want to go fast and stuff everything into my face as quick as possible during this meal, which is exactly how I used to feel a lot when it came to food and eating. It's like, whose eyes are those looking that are saying, you shouldn't do that. You need to hold yourself back. You need to keep, control yourself from that. And who is the one speaking that wants to grab and is panicked? Maybe have a little compassion for that rebellion, that rebellious one. Maybe that rebellious one has something to offer that's very, very important. And it doesn't mean we actually do need to stuff ourselves and make ourselves hurt and uncomfortable and bitter is a way of expressing that one who's rebellious, you know? Maybe they have a message or an important thing to share, but we don't actually have to hurt ourselves by following through. I found this to be the case, you know? I can have rebellious energy. There's a place for rebellious energy in this world. Have you noticed? Reality includes rebellion, and it doesn't have to be at my own pain, at my own suffering. I can choose to move and step into the fire of that and open up my mind and my feelings to what truly works. And that's what we all get to practice in the Eating Peace Retreat, a deeply experiential process of eating and eating together and eating in the company of others who care about ourselves and the group and who are interested in understanding what it means to slow down and see what's happening in this process. So even if you can't come to an Eating Peace Retreat, try practicing with the recording I have for getting guided through a meal. And you can share it with anybody so that they can just download it and have it on their device of any kind and see what it's like. And bring a notebook with you so that you can write down your objections, what you hate about it, what you don't like as you're listening, if there's too much space, too much quiet, if you think you're supposed to be doing it a certain way. These are powerful thoughts to write down. Let your rebeller talk and see what it has to say. There may be some reason that it's reappearing over and over again, and there might be another different kind of solution that would resolve that everybody would feel comfortable with. Every part of you within would experience as, thumbs up, we all agree with that. The traffic lights are a good idea. Let's put them up there. Everyone can find a great reason for having traffic lights. We're not opposed to those lights. They work. Just a simple structure that is kind and loving and a safety mechanism in place so that we don't have to think. There may be something that can exist like that for you around your eating. And the only place that I've ever been able to find that is by trying every kind of option, the speedy one, the slow one, and to look in with a great big open heart, but also an open mind, allowing everything to be here and to see which thing would be the best approach, what would be a good solution for what's happening, what's right for me in the present moment when it comes to me and my relationship with food and eating. So I hope you'll join me someday. There's a January retreat every year, and sometimes I do it on location in other places. So, stay tuned to that. But you can have your own retreat, whether you're able to come join others or not. You can sit and listen to the recording and just see what comes up, see what happens in your mind. And if it's stressful, take it to inquiry. Is it true what I'm believing about this moment and my relationship with food? Can I absolutely know that that's true? All right. Take care, everybody.